Welcome to Computer Networks.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Cisco Introduction to Networks version 7. In this video, we will discuss on Module 4 Physical Layer. Welcome to the physical layer. The physical layer of the OSI model sits at the bottom of the stack. It is part of the network access layer of the TCP/IP model. Without the physical layer, you would not have a network. This module explains in detail how to connect the physical layer different medium using two in a network. What will I learn to do in this module? The main objective of physical layer is explain how physical layer protocols, services and network media support communications across data networks. And also you have learned in this module purpose of the physical layer characteristics, copper cabling, UTP cabling, fiber optic cabling, wireless media. Now you can see the purpose of the physical layer. The physical connection. Whether connecting to a local printer in the home or a website in another country. Before any network communications can occur, a physical connection to a local network must be established. A physical connection can be a wired connection using a cable or a wireless connection using a radio waves. The type of physical connection used depends upon the setup of the network. For example, in many corporate offices, employees have desktop or laptop computers that are physically connected via cable to a shared switch. This type of setup is a wired network. Data is transmitted through a physical cable. In addition to wired connections, many businesses also offer wireless connections for laptops, tablets and smartphones. With wireless devices, data is transmitted using radio waves. Wireless connectivity is common as individuals and businesses alike discover its advantages. Devices on a wireless network must be connected to a wireless access point, that is AP, or wireless router like the displayed in the diagrams. There are the components of a access point, the wireless antennas, several Ethernet switch ports and internet port. Similar to a corporate office, most homes offer both wired and wireless connectivity to the network. Network interface cards. The network interface cards, NICs, connect a device to the network. Ethernet NICs are used for a wired connection, whereas wireless local area network, WLAN, NICs are used for wirelesses. An end user device may include one or both types of NICs. A network printer, for example, may only have an Ethernet NIC and therefore must connect to the network using an Ethernet cable. Other devices such as tablets and smartphones might only contain a wireless LAN NIC and must use a wireless connection. Now you can see the physical layer. The OSI physical layer provides the means to transport the bits that make up a data link layer frames across the network media. This layer accepts the complete frame from the data link layer and encodes it a series of signals that are transmitted to a local media. The encoded bits that comprise a frame are received by the either an end device or an intermediate device. The last part of the process shows the bits being sent over the physical medium. The physical layer encodes the frames and creates the electrical, optical or radio wave signals that represent the bits in each frame. These signals are then sent over the media, one at a time. The destination node, physical layer, retrieves these individual signals from the media, restores them to their bit representations, and passes the bits up to the data link layer as a complete frame. Next one, physical layer characteristics. The physical layer standards. In the previous topic, we have gained a high level overview of the physical layer and its place in a network. This topic dives a bit deeper into the specifics of the physical layer. This includes the components and the media used to build a network, as well as the standards that are required so that everything works together. The protocols and operations of the upper OSI layers are performed using the software designed by the software engineers and computer scientists. The services and protocols in the TCP/IP suite are defined by the Internet Engineering Task Force (IETF). The physical layer consists of electronic circuitry, media, and connectors developed by engineers. Therefore, it is appropriate that the standards governing the hardware are defined by the relevant electrical and communications engineering organizations. There are many different international and national organizations, regulatory government organizations, and private companies involved in establishing and maintaining physical layer standards. For instance, the physical layer hardware, media, encoding and signaling standards are defined and governed by these standard organizations, that is ISO, International Organization for Standardization, Telecommunications Industry Association or Electronic Industries Association TIA, EIA, International Telecommunication Union ITU, American National Standards Institute ANSI, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers IEEE, National Telecommunications Regulatory Authorities including the Federal Communication Commission FCC in the USA and European Telecommunications Standards Institute ETSI. In addition to this, there are often regional cabling standards groups such as CSA, Canadian Standards Association, and also so many associations are which develop local specifications. That's the physical layer. The physical layer always support the physical layer standards are implemented in a hardware and are governed by the many organizations including ISO, EITA, and ITUT, ANSI, IEEE. Now you can see the physical components. The physical layer standards address three functions areas: physical components, encoding, signaling. Let us first one discussing the physical components. The physical components are the electronic hardware devices, media and other connectors that transmit the signals that represent the bits. Hardware components such as NIC, interfaces and connectors, cable materials and cable designs are all specified in a standard associated with the physical layer. The various ports and interfaces and Cisco 1941 router are also example of physical components with specific connectors and in pinouts resulting from standards. The next one, encoding. Encoding or line encoding is a method of converting stream of data bits into a predefined code. Codes are grouping of bits used to provide a predictable pattern that can be recognized by both the sender and the receiver. Okay, in simple words, encoding is the method or pattern used to represent digital information. This is similar to how Morse code encodes a message using a series of dots and dashes. For example, Manchester encoding represents 0 bit by a high to low voltage transition, and 1 bit is represented as a low to high voltage transition. An example of Manchester encoding is the diagram. The transition occurs at the middle of the each bit period. This type of encoding is used in 10 megabit per second Ethernet. Faster data rates require more complex encoding. Manchester encoding is used in older Ethernet standards such as 10 base T Ethernet. 10 base TX uses 4B and 5B encoding, and 1000 base T uses 8B and 10B encoding. The transition occurs at the middle of the each bit period. The next one, signaling. The physical layer must generate the electrical, optical or wireless signals that represent the 1 and 0 on the media. The way that bits are represented is called the signaling method. The physical layer standards must define what type of signal represents a 1 and what type of signal represents a 0. This can be as simple as a change in the level of the electrical signal or optical pulse. For example, a long pulse might represent 1, whereas a short pulse might represent the 0. This is similar to signaling method used in the Morse code, which may use a series of on-off turns, lights, clicks to send text over telephone wires or between the ships at sea. Now you can see the bandwidth. Different physical media support the transfer of bits at different rates. Okay, again, different physical media support the transfer of bits at different rates. The data transfer is usually discussed in the terms of bandwidth. Bandwidth is the capacity at which a medium can carry data. Digital bandwidth measures a amount of data that can flow from one place to another in a given amount of time. Bandwidth is typically measured in kilobits per second, that is kbps, megabits per second, mbps, gigabits per second, gbps. Okay, bandwidth is sometimes thought of as the speed that bits travel. However, this is not accurate. For example, in both 10 megabit per second and 100 megabit per second Ethernet, the bits are sent at the speed of electricity. The difference, the number of bits that are transmitted per second. A combination of factors determines the practical bandwidth of a network. The properties of the physical media, the technologies chosen for signaling and detecting network signals. Physical media properties, current technologies, and the laws of physics all play a role in determining the available bandwidth. Okay, the table shows the commonly used units of measures for both bandwidth. Units of bandwidth abbreviation equivalence, bits per second, bps. 1 bits per second equal to the fundamental unit of bandwidth. Kilobits per second, kbps. 1 kbps equal to the 1000 bps or 10 power of 3 bps. Megabits per second, 1 megabit per second, 10 power of 6 bps. Gigabits per second, 10 power of 9 bits per second. Terabits per second, 10 power 12 bits per second. Okay, now you can see the bandwidth terminology. Terms, what are the terms used to measure the quality of bandwidth include latency, throughput and goodput. Latency, throughput, goodput. Where latency refers to the amount of time, including delays, for data to travel from one given point to another. In an internetwork or a network with multiple segments, throughput cannot be faster than the slowest link in the paths from source to destination. Even if all or most of the segments have high bandwidth, it will only take one segment in the path with a low throughput to create a bottleneck in the throughput of the entire network. The next one, throughput. Throughput is the measure of the transfer of bits across the media over a given period of time. Throughput is the measurement of the transfer of entire bits across the media given period of time. Due to number of factors, throughput usually does not match the specified bandwidth in a physical layer implementations. Throughput is usually lower than the bandwidth. There are many factors that influence throughput. That is the amount of traffic, the type of traffic, the latency created by the number of network devices encountered between the source and destination. There are many online speed tests that can reveal the throughput of an internet connection. The next one, goodput. There is a third measurement to access the transfer of useful data. It is known as goodput. Goodput is the measure of usable data transferred over a given period of time. Goodput is the measure of usable data transferred over a given period of time. Goodput is throughput minus traffic overhead for establishing the sessions. Goodput is the throughput minus traffic overhead for establishing sessions, acknowledgements, encapsulations and retransmitted bits, where goodput is always lower than the throughput, which is generally lower than the bandwidth. Next one, we can see the copper cabling. In a copper cabling, the first one, characteristics of copper cabling. Copper cabling is the most common type of cabling used in networks today. In fact, copper cabling is not just one type of cable. There are 3 different types of copper cabling are each used in the specific situations. Networks use copper media because it is inexpensive, easy to install and low resistance of electrical current. However, copper media is limited by distance and signal interfaces. Data is transmitted on copper cables as electrical pulses. A detector in the network interface of the destination device must receive a signal that can be usefully decoded to match the signal sent. However, the further the signal travels, the more it derives this is referred to the signal attenuation. And the timing and voltage value of the electrical pulses also susceptible of interference from the 2 sources. Electromagnetic interface or radio frequency interface. And next one, crosstalk, where EMI and RFI signals can distort and corrupt the data signals being carried by copper media. Potential sources of EMI and RFI include radio waves and electromagnetic devices such as fluorescent lights or electric motors. Next one, crosstalk. Crosstalk is a disturbance caused by the electric or magnetic fields of a signal on one wire to the signal in an adjacent wire. In telephone circuits, crosstalk can result in hearing the part of the another voice conversation from an adjacent circuit. Specifically, when an electrical current flows through a wire, it creates a small circular magnetic field around the wire, which can be picked up by an adjacent wire. The diagram shows how data transmission can be affected by the interference. Okay, the first one, a pure digital signal is transmitted. On the medium, second one, on the medium, there is an interference signal. Third one, the digital signal is corrupted by the interference signal. And fourth one, the receiving computer reads a changed signal. Notice that a 0 bit is now interpreted as a 1 bit. To counter the negative effects of EMI and RFI, some types of copper cables are wrapped in a metallic shielding and require the proper grounding connections. To counter the negative effects on crosstalk, some types of copper cables have opposing circuit wire pairs stitched together. which effectively cancel the crosstalk. The substitutability of copper cables to electronic noise can also be limited using these recommendations. Selecting the cable type or category most suited to a given network environment. Design the cable infrastructure to avoid the known and potential sources of interference in the building structure. Using the cabling techniques that include the proper handling and termination of the cables. Okay, now you can see the types of copper cabling. There are three main types of copper media and digital networking: unshielded twisted pair (UTP) cable, shielded twisted pair cable, that is STP, and coaxial cable. Okay, the first one, unshielded twisted pair (UTP). Unshielded twisted pair UTP cabling is the most common networking media. UTP cabling terminated with RJ45 connectors is used for interconnecting network hosts with the intermediary networking devices such as the switches and routers. Inlands UTP cables consists of 4 pairs of color-coded wires that have been twisted together and then encased in a flexible plastic sheath that protects from minor physical damage. The twisting of wires helps to protect against signal interference from the other wires. As in the diagram, the color codes identify the individual pairs and wires and aid in the cable termination. The numbers in the diagram identify some key characteristics of the unshielded twisted pair cable. The outer jacket protects the copper wires from the physical damage. Second one, the twisted pairs protect the signals from interferences. Third one, color-coded plastic insulation electrically isolates wires from each other and identifies each pair. The next one, shielded twisted pair STP. Shielded twisted pair provides better noise protection than UTP cabling. However, compared to UTP cable, STP cable is significantly more expensive and difficult to install. Like UTP cable, STP uses the RJ45 connector. STP cables combine the techniques of shielding of counter EMI and RFI and wire twisting to counter crosstalk to gain the full benefit of the shielding. STP cables are terminated with the special shielded STP data connectors. If the cable is improperly grounded, the shield may act as an antenna and pick up the unwanted signals. The STP cable shows in the diagram 4 pairs of wires, each wrapped in a foil shield, which are then wrapped in an overall metallic braid. Okay, the number of diagram identify some key features shield in the twisted pair cable. The first one, outer jacket. Next one, braided or foil shield. Third one, foil shields. Fourth one, twisted pairs. Next one, coaxial cable. Coaxial cable or coax are short gets its name from the fact that are two conductors that share the same axis. As in the diagram, coaxial cable consists of the following. A copper conductor is used to transmit the electronic signals. A layer of flexible plastic insulation surroundings of a copper conductor. The insulating material is surrounded in a woven copper braid or metallic foil that acts as a second wire in the circuit and as a shield for the inner conductor. The second layer or shield also reduces the amount of outside electromagnetic interferences. So the entire cable is covered with a cable jacket to prevent minor physical damage. There are different types of connectors used with the coax cable. Okay, that is the Boynet, Nail, Conselman, BNS, N-type and F-type connectors are shown in the diagram. All the UTP cables has essentially replaced coaxial cable in modern Ethernet installations. The coaxial cable design is used in the following situations: wireless installations and cable internet installations. In a wireless installations, coaxial cables attach antennas to wireless devices. The coaxial cable carries radio frequency RF energy between the antennas and the radio equipment. The next one, cable internet installations. Cable service providers provide internet connectivity to their customers by replacing portions of the coaxial cable and supporting amplifications elements with fiber optic cable. However, the wiring inside the customer's premises is still coax cable. The numbers in the figure identify some key features of the coaxial cable: outer jacket, braided copper shielding, plastic insulation, and copper conductor. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.